Okay, welcome to Block Party Prairie Point Quilt Sampler, and we are doing the February block of the month today. So I'm going to show you just a couple tips on how to put this block together. Okay, so when you get your little kit, the first thing I want to say is that the kits this month, we had a couple cutting errors in them. So some of you might pick up a kit and find some extra pieces in the back to make up for what was lacking on the original cuts. Others of you have picked up your kits before we discovered the mistake. And so if you come in and want some extra pieces to finish your block, that's fine. We have those all ready to hand to you. If you have the autumn one, then you will have, there's two different greens we use and two different oranges. So you might want to either take a picture, bring it in, or just remember which one that you have so that we give you the right one to match it, to go with it. And so I'll set that aside for now. The cutting instructions for the background fabric, you cut 4 squares at 4.5 for your the 4 corners of the block. Get that out here. Okay, so the 4 corners out there, and then you cut 1 square at 5 3/4. Okay, then it says cut this one in half diagonally twice. Okay, I'm going to cut these for you just to give you a visual to remind you that you cut the large square twice on the diagonal, and these are for your little flying geese units. And I'm going to set those aside. And then going down to your medium and darker fabrics, you have 3 1/4 squares. We're going to cut those in half once. Okay, so cut that in half once. And my dark, that was the medium. This is the dark. Cut this in half once. Okay, so we're going to start out with the corner squares, and what you're going to do is take your 2 1/2 squares. It says draw a line. You can do that. You can use a folded corner clipper or any of the your favorite tools to do that. You're going to sew across there, and then you're going to press them, and you're going to have 4 units that look like this. Okay, on the pressing, it tells you on the pattern to press in what direction. And in this case, you're pressing them both this way. So you don't press them both towards the triangle like we normally do. You don't press them in. They're both going to be going in the same direction. Okay, so that'll help nest the other units together with it. So do that 4 times. Now I'm going to go on to step 2, and where we make the flying geese units. So the reason we're doing it with this technique this time is because we have 2 different colors of sky in the flying geese unit. This is the geese, this is the sky. Okay, instead of all being the same. So we're going to simplify it by making it this way. So we cut that square into triangles. We cut these squares into triangles. We're going to lay that right on there, and you're going to sew an accurate 1/4 seam. So it will look like that. Okay, then you're going to press it open. You're going to put the other one on and sew an accurate 1/4 seam, and then they will both look like, both sides will look like this. So press the flying geese unit. And I have one more here. I'm going to trim up both of them for you. I'll set the seam, press it out. So you can use your Ultimate Flying Geese ruler. You can use the wing clipper or any of your favorite square up rulers for flying geese. I'm going to show you how to do it using a Creative Grids ruler. And I've showed you this before, but we're gonna do it again. I know we've still had questions on it. So when you put this on here, we're going to make sure that the 4.5-inch lines on the ruler here are right there on the flying geese unit. So the 4.5-inch, this comes down 2.5, this is 4.5, going this way. The intersection meets right at the seam. Over here, the same thing. This intersection, 4.5 and 2.5, meets right there at the seam. If you do that, you can look up here and you'll probably see that you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance above the very point of the triangle. So I'm going to hold that on there and cut those two sides. Turn it around, and then this side is really easy because you just go 4.5, 2.5 down, and it should naturally come out right there at the seam lines if you cut that one correctly. Just don't let it slide before you get there. And you have a perfect flying geese unit. Edge of your ruler and your line here, it's 2.5, 4.5 inches, comes right to the seam line there. Over here, this intersection comes right to the seam, and then we have a 1/4 inch above our point up there. I'm going to hold this down, trim it, turn it around, and again we have 4.5 this way, 2.5 this way. It comes right up there to the points. I still have preserved my 1/4 inch seam allowance at the point. And again, another perfect flying geese unit. So then when you place these together, this is going to go here. So this is going to be sewed together to make one unit. You'll make 4 of those, 4 of these, and that puts your block together. Okay, so to put these together, you're going to put your 2 corner ones with your center unit together. So those together, these together, and these together, and make 3 rows and put them together. So when you have it completed, you have a look to it that like they're all connected, but they're really just pieced together. It's not a difficult block to make. You just have to pay really close attention to your instructions, measure twice, cut once, and you should be fine.